Would you do it? Would you start it again?
Yes, of course I'll do it again. Of course, it's the best times of my life in a way. With all the challenges that come with it, it still is the best time of my life. I don't have money anymore. I don't have a social life anymore. So I'm not sure why is this the best time of my life, but it is.
From the perspective where you are now to first steps that you are making, would you invest in yourself back then?
The truth is, how about you? Do you feel?
So I ask you that question just because let's switch a little bit. I've created that so people can tell their stories. You got the license from HMRC, and how that story went from there.
I launched my brand, but then I couldn't really sell bars.
So how difficult was to get to the wholesalers?
So the main challenge was that when you go speak to a bar, imagine the bar loves Sahara, they want it in their menu, they love it. And then they go like, look, we only purchased our drinks from 1 or 2 wholesalers. Are you with these 2 wholesalers? Is your product there? And then if you say no, they say, sorry, we can't take it because we can't buy directly from you. So I go to one of the 2 wholesalers, and then guess what they say?
You touched a little bit on the fundraising, and you said that now you are gearing up for like 6 to 12 months. People does not realize how many problems entrepreneurs face on a daily basis all the time.
In LinkedIn, I used to be annoyed by those posts. The posts that show you this iceberg, and then they show you the tip of the iceberg, and the rest is like challenges, sweat, tears, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, so cheesy. I would click through it. I'm like, no, I don't want to look at this content. And then now, when I see this post, I go like, heart. I can relate now.
So thank you very much for joining me today. I would like to start from unusual question, which is, what's your largest or biggest problems nowadays while running your business?
I think the way I would answer it is a little bit different to what you expect. Probably you expect one big problem, but the reality is there are too many problems.
Well, that's exactly what I would expect.
Yes, I'm sure you have experienced similar situation. Yeah. But the way I see it is that the problems evolve as the company and the business evolves as well. I think if you ask me 1 year ago, my problem would be one of packaging because I produce alcohol, so the packaging matters, and we had to perfection it and make it look as good as we wanted to look and how we conceptualized it in the beginning. But then right now, my challenges 1 year on are slightly different. Now it's one of getting in front of buyers, getting in front of distributors, importers, but also raising funds. So talking to investors and fundraising is difficult.
Would you say you prefer the previous problems or the problems nowadays?
Very, very interesting. I think I learned a lot from the last problems, and somehow each problem that comes my way just makes me better in general, me as a person, but also as a business. And so I think when last year I was at level 0 because I was still knows nothing about the business and all of that. And so now I feel like maybe I'm at level 5. So it's like a video game and you're kind of progressing, and every room that you enter in that video game is a challenge, and then you progress to the next level. So I think I grew as a person, as a business, and that's definitely a better place to be. But still, I wouldn't say I prefer this or that. I would prefer anything that teaches me a lesson.
So what's the hardest part so far in your business? What was the hardest thing to do? Or like maybe you are at the stage which is the hardest so far?
Yeah, I think every stage where I am feels like the hardest. But if I have to look back again, the last year, one challenge was getting a license to sell alcohol from HMRC, from the government. And that felt like a challenge because again, I'm level 0, HMRC is level 100. And it's just like you're talking to people who know what they're doing, and they know the rules and they know the compliance by heart. So I had to learn all the rules around alcohol sales. And it was essentially like an exam that I almost, did not get in the beginning because I was not 100% ready, but I thought I was ready. But then I took 1 more month to prepare for the license, and then finally I got it. So I'm very, very pleased with how it went at the end. But it was very challenging, very, very challenging.
I can imagine. So like looking back from the perspective where you are now to the first steps that you were making. I'm assuming that you were also sort of trying to get to investors and invest in you at the very early stage.
Yes.
Right? Would you invest in yourself back then?
The truth is, I have already invested in myself because I quit my full-time job. I left a long career that I had in a very different industry that pays well, you know. So really, in reality, I did invest in myself, and I did ask myself that question: Am I worth the investment on myself? And the answer is yes. And I think that's how I see it. And I think that every founder really is investing in themselves first, with their time, with their sweat, with their effort, with their dedication, and their amazing products and services. So, yeah. How about you? Do you feel?
So I ask you that question just because I asked myself that question every few months, whether I would invest in myself like 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. And to be fair, after the first year, I've noticed how many problems I went through, what I didn't know, that I've obviously learned. And honestly, I wouldn't invest in myself. Like
Okay.
as an investor, I wanted to raise probably around 500,000, something like that. And I knew what I want to do. I knew where I want to go exactly. But I lack a lot of skills in terms of hiring, like how to hire proper people. And I think that's the largest one. So I would make so many mistakes with money that I didn't have. I would stress extra. So yeah, I wouldn't invest in myself back then, and I'm not surprised that no one have invested in me when I started. Now it's a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I ask you that question, really.
I feel like I still have to develop on that. But I think we, as founders, we can't always be perfect. We can improve ourselves. But mistakes, I feel like they will remain there because everything we do, unless we've done it twice, everything we're doing as first-time founders is new. And so even raising money is new to me. And so I would say mistakes will happen again. I know that just
100%.
because everything is new. Maybe we will minimize some mistakes that we've done before we can't repeat. But maybe we will make new ones because everything new comes up again. So
Let's switch a little bit and let's
Okay.
go to your story, because I've created that so people can tell their stories, because I feel that's very important for early stage. Like, why do you do what you do? Why did you came up with Sahara? Like, tell us a little bit what Sahara is.
Sahara is born from Morocco's spirit of friendship and hospitality. It is a spirit drink that I'm reviving, and I'm bringing back to life something very unique and rare directly from Morocco. So we have a Moroccan-Jewish minority in the country. They have lived in centuries in Morocco, and they've lived within this vibrant culture next to their neighbors, as friends and as family. And they have introduced a spirit drink called Mahia. So Mahia means in Arabic water of life, and it's made from figs and aniseed. And these Jewish people would always share it with their friends, their neighbors, and that's created this spirit of friendship, really, one that brings people together, no matter their religion, no matter where they come from. And as a multi-ethnic and diverse country in Morocco, we're always proud of that diversity. And likewise, we're proud that we have a heritage that allows us to produce our own alcohol as well. And so I'm doing the revival in the UK, bringing back to life an ancestral recipe. We use the figs and aniseed still, but with our twist, modern twist, made for the Western palate, made for the global drinkers. So I launched it 1 year ago, although that took me 4 years of work, 4 years of trying different recipes, working with the distillery to bring up a product that we're happy with.
What's your past experiences before Sahara? What were you doing?
So as I mentioned, when I moved to the UK at 18, I came for uni, and I've studied first finance and accounting, and then I studied political economy of the Middle East. Somehow nothing kind of matches, and then it's even goes to a different field. I worked in cybersecurity for 7 years.
Okay, why alcohol? Why did you wanted to bring that flavor to the Europe, and what happened in your life that you were like, I'll do it?
Boom. So I'm from Morocco myself. That's where I grew up. When I first moved into the UK, I would notice that bars don't have any representation of Africa in their cocktail menus.
Okay.
So it's very, very important point. We're like in the era of diversity, but in one specific industry, which is the alcohol industry, we did not embrace the diversity. And that was like very long time ago. That was when I was 18 years old, 10 years, 12 years ago, something like that. And then I said to myself, oh, I need to introduce them to Moroccan alcohol. We have wine, we have beers, but we also have spirits that can go super well with the cocktails, especially with the figs and the type of botanicals that we use. And that's just Morocco. We are like 50 plus countries in Africa, and they all have their own ingredients, they all have their own spirits, they all have their own alcohol. And yeah, that piece of the puzzle is definitely missing. And 10 years have passed. I did not think about this idea at all. Thought about it once when I was 18. 10 years later, I was like, okay, let's sit down and let's bring back that idea and see who has brought African spirits into the market. And the reality is not many.
What spirits do you sell? What Sahara is?
So Sahara is a revamped, we can say a revived Mahia. So Mahia is what we call it in Morocco. And it will be difficult to...
So it's like a vodka, whiskey, tequila?
It's none of these. It's none of these. But if I have to compare it to something, I would say it's somewhere between a gin and a vodka. It's
okay.
Fruits, spirits, high alcohol concentration, 40%.
Okay. So how did you... So you got the license from HMRC, and how that story went from there?
So to sell alcohol to individuals, you need something called the personal license, right?
Okay.
So that's easy. You get that from the council of the town or borough where you live, and that's sorted. You do an exam for it too, but it's straightforward. Now to sell B2B, to sell to bars, to sell to wholesalers, and things like that, you need HMRC to approve you as an approved wholesaler for alcohol. And so I launched my brand, but then I couldn't really sell to bars because that was something that needed to be licensed as well. And so that took maybe 4 months since I launched. And then I got the license around September of 2024. So that's when I really started to push with the bars. Maybe 4 or 5 months later, I got it listed in a wholesaler. So the wholesaler kind of distributes into a few bars in London.
So how difficult was to get to the wholesalers?
So the main challenge was that when you go speak to a bar, imagine the bar loves Sahara, they want it in their menu, they love it. And then they go like, look, we only purchase our drinks from 1 or 2 wholesalers. Are you with these 2 wholesalers? Is your product there? And then if you say no, they say, sorry, we can't take it because we can't buy directly from you. And that's somehow understandable because if they have to buy from every single brand, that will be a messy transactions and messy operation. And I'm like, oh no. So I go to one of the 2 wholesalers, and then guess what they say? They say, oh, you need to have demand from the bars before we can list your product.
Yeah, I know something about it.
Okay, but how am I going to make this work? Because they say you need to be with the wholesaler before we buy you. The wholesaler says you need the bar to take you before we get you. And finally, I thought about, sometimes you can't get through the front door, you go through the window. So I'm like, okay, let's be creative here. So I went to one wholesaler. I said, will you take me on board if I get you clients for you, not for me, for you?
Nice.
And they were like, yeah, deal done. So I got them new clients, and they listed me immediately, no questions asked. So that was very, very good. But then there's just one of the wholesalers, and there are like so many that I still need to kind of repeat the same thing with. And that's really, really difficult, very difficult.
This is really good approach, by the way, like very creative thinking, huh?
I did not have a choice.
Yeah, well, I can understand, but when you were talking about it's a chicken egg problem, right? So where are you now?
So we have some initial traction at the moment, which is useful to do more, because now when the new bars I speak to, when they see that we're listed here and here and here, that helps. It's somehow like a marketing tool. And so the next stages is to continue with the fundraise. It takes forever, so I decided it's going to take me 6 to 12 months.
Easy.
And that's okay. I'm I'm geared up, me as a person personally, to sustain that amount of time with the next stages of fundraising, and also sales, because I have a product, it's there. I just need to go out there, sell, speak to bars, speak to restaurants, make connections, meet retailers, meet buyers, and it's never ending really, and that's okay.
You touched a little bit on the fundraising, and you said that now you are gearing up for like 6 to 12 months. How long you thought it was gonna take to fundraise money when you started a year ago?
So the truth is, before I launched, I had a lot of interest from an investor perspective, but I always thinking, why fundraise when you don't have a product to show, when you don't have anything that you can hold in your hand? And so I was always in the idea that I need to launch first, get some initial traction, then speak back to the investors. And so that's exactly what happened. And the reaction is slightly different now. Now there is expectations of having super high growth before they can even consider speaking to you. And I'm like, okay, but aren't you the same person that was very excited before I even get something out there? And it's a little bit tricky to navigate this.
What is the reason that you are looking for funding? What do you want to spend that money on that you know that you cannot do at the moment? Because that's usually a lot of founders want to raise funds because they want to get famous or something, right? So what's that's true. They want to be on the Forbes list 30 under 30 or something like that, or like they want to be Elon Musk, so they raise funds. What's your reason of like why do you need money from investors?
So one of the things that I intend to use the funds for is the sales and marketing. So sales and marketing, that means trade shows. Trade shows, they can be very efficient if done properly, and sometimes they can be costly. You need to get a table for 1,000, 2,000 pounds for 2-3 days, but you get those in front of the right people, the right buyers, and then hiring someone to support, not on a full-time basis, not as an employee, but rather as a contractor, someone from the industry that can open more doors and make things happen. And then the third point is the international expansions. So we have opportunities in some other countries. Yes, they will purchase. Sometimes they pay 50% in advance, and that's very, very good with the international importers. But you still need to invest in marketing for that country. So it's like a relaunch, essentially. And that would need its own PR, its own messaging, communication.
Yeah, of course, the whole totally different marketing strategy.
Because the UK is not France, it's not Poland, it's not Morocco, it's not UAE.
Yeah, different language, obviously. It's not US where you're launching and you can use probably very similar approach, or at least language, to all of the different states. Would you do it? Would you start it again?
Yes.
Of course, I've learned so much.
Of course, I'll do it again. Of course, it's the best times of my life in a way. With all the challenges that come with it, it still is the best time of my life.
You can't be bored running the business.
I don't have money anymore. I don't have a social life anymore. So I'm not sure why is this the best time of my life, but it is.
I think I know what you're talking about, because you feel accomplished in some way, even though you are still at the beginning of your journey. And like you said, you don't have social life, you have little money, but it still feel like you're doing something more than just 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what keeps entrepreneurs doing what they're doing. I just would like everyone to shift expectations about how easy it is to first raise and second to really build a business. So having said that, thank you very much for joining.